And I'm back to answer some more questions from my listeners. The first question today comes from Judy in New City, New York. I'm going to kind of paraphrase the question, but basically it's, hey Warren, we have a golden doodle. She's a mini, weighs about 26 pounds, absolutely lovable, but every time someone comes into the house or you go to play with her, the dog pees. No one will take her when we go away, but we don't know what carpet, we don't know what. Not ignoring her, but she still gets excited. Anything you can suggest would be very helpful. Well, a couple of things. When you have a dog that gets excited when you come home, of course ignoring is the probably right thing to do. However, on the other hand, listen to me. You're still gone for a long period of time. So what you need to do is you need to practice going out of the house and coming back 3 minutes later. Going out of the house, coming back 10 minutes later. Going out of the house, coming back 15 minutes later, until the dog realizes that every time you come in, you haven't been gone that long, and she's going to be excited, but not to the same degree, which may be causing the nervous sweating, or as I call it, anxiety peeing. Now, the other thing that's really critical, it depends on the dog's personality. Some dogs you have to be really low key with, other dogs you can be a lot more excited with. I still suggest, and the word tried always scares me, I still suggest that you ignore the dog when you first walk in. That's a tried and true method for anxiety wetting. However, the more frequently you come in and the more frequently people come over, that's going to make a big difference. Now, one more thing that I started developing many years ago is what we call in the field of animal behavior distraction therapy. You've heard me talk about it in many situations, but in anxiety wetting or nervous peeing, here's how it works. The dog's excited to see you. Might be a nice lady, Judy, but I don't know why the dog's so excited. But listen to me carefully. What you need to do is get the dog more excited over something else. So here's what I'm going to recommend, and I've worked with this on thousands of dogs. Find one item that your dog absolutely adores. It could be any number of things, a frisbee, a toy, I don't care, whatever the dog loves. One item that the dog loves. However, that item is very, very rarely in your home. That item is in your car or by your front door. As a matter of fact, if you were to come to my house today, by the front door, there would be a toy sitting there for certain guests to come in, they can walk in. Even my pet nanny has a toy when she comes into the house that she hands to the dogs first. They're excited to see her, but they're just as excited about that toy that they rarely see. So take that special toy, leave it outside. When you come in the house, the first thing you do is don't say a word to the dog, hand her that toy and walk away, and have other people do the same thing. Is she going to get over it? Absolutely, positively. The one thing you didn't give me here was her age. A lot of dogs will outgrow this, some at 6 months, some at a year, some at 2 years. So her age has a lot to do with it. And the other thing that's critical is if you make sure you exercise the dog properly and never correct the dog for this. Never correct the dog for this. There have been situations where I've actually had people introduced to a nervous sweater outside of the door. We know the dog's going to pee, but if he's going to pee, let him pee outside and not in your house. This way there's no correction, there's no anxiety, and eventually he will get over it, I promise. So building up the dog's confidence is critical. Some basic training would help. Also, those short intervals out of the house, coming back in. And the other thing you need to remember is try is a verb. You keep trying, 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 and trying. Good luck, and I promise you won't need that new carpet in a short period. And my next question comes from Barbara from Michigan. Hey Warren, I have a mixed breed Shih Tzu and Pekingese. Shih Tzu, the most carefully pronounced dog breed name in the world. She's 10 years old, has always cried and whined constantly while we're driving in the car, even though we take her to enjoyable places. Even as a puppy, we try to calm her in the car with treats and mats. If you ask her to go bye-bye, she gets so excited until the car is in motion. Her constant crying and whining really gets on your nerves traveling. And forget about staying in a motel all night, she barks all the time. She will not keep quiet. We're planning on moving to Florida in the fall. And we don't know if we can make the trip with her whining and crying in the back of the car. What can you do? Any suggestions for the nervous crying? Well, first of all, I've seen the way you guys drive in Michigan. I'd probably cry if I was in the car too. Now, yes, you need to understand this. Your dog is excited to go. But with excitement comes whining and crying sometimes. So here's what I'm going to suggest that you do. You take it to fun places. That's great. You should continue doing that. But if you ever just back out of your driveway and pull back in, or just drive halfway around the block and come home, you need to do very short, gradual trips so the dog doesn't associate the car with lengthy periods of time. That's number one. Also, it's a good idea to exercise the dog prior to bringing her into the car. Let's face it, we know the dog is nervous, we know the dog's anxious in the car. Let's get some of that energy out of her. Now I noticed in here you talked about drugging the dog up. No, I don't want your dog listening to the doors in the back of your car either. So I'm a big fan of no drugs unless there's a real specific medical reason to use it. But there is a product that I do recommend. It's called Calm Down. It may just take the edge off the dog. It may work, it may not, but it's worth a try. It's all natural 100%. But the real resolution to your problem is, once again, making the car a place where the dog is at every single day. Now, the dog barks at hotels. Why? It's a new place. The dog barks in the car. Why? Because it's in motion and she's not there as often as she's in the house. I don't see any part of your letter saying, hey Warren, she barks all the time or whines all the time in the house. So what we need to do is build up that same confidence level in the car, in the motel room that you have in the house. So more exercise, more time in the car. You might want to try the calm down a little bit. But again, the most important thing to remember, and you have a 10-year-old dog here. She's been doing this for 10 years. Dogs can be trained at any age. You know, the old saying that you can't teach an old dog new tricks is like saying my grandfather can't learn when he reads a newspaper. Of course they can learn. However, it takes a little bit longer to undo habits that have been there for lengthy periods of time. So every day, some time in the car, halfway around the block, come back home. Don't make a big deal about going to the car. As a matter of fact, don't even use the word bye-bye. Use another word. Hey, let's go for a ride or something. She will come around, I promise. But I get a lot of questions here on the Pet Show. Thousands and thousands of questions over the years. And every once in a while, one comes across that's a little bit more difficult to answer than others. You know, usually my dog's jumping, my cat's scratching, my cockapoo doesn't like my grandmother. We can answer all those. But this one comes from Jay in Ortonville, Michigan. Starts out with the word help. That scared me right off the bat. I took in a cat that was dumped in my neighborhood this winter, but must make him live in my garage, as he never cleans himself after he goes number 2. He's loving and ultra friendly, but I need to know how to teach him to wash himself. Any suggestions? I'm desperate. I bet you are. You know, this is a really tough problem because this is something that is actually taught by the mother cat and the other litter mates when they're very young. I don't know the background of this cat, and nor do you, but first of all, Jay, bless you for taking him in. But the fact that he was dumped, and you don't say in your letter how old he was when you found him or how long he was in the neighborhood, my gut reaction, he's never spent a whole lot of time either around his litter mates or his mom, and was either abandoned very young or the other litter mates and the mom were taken away because no other cat ever taught him how to clean himself. So how are we going to do this? It's a tough one. Here's what I'm going to recommend that you do. Cats are fastidiously clean, okay? What I'd like you to try is a little bit different. He goes into the litter box, and I'm assuming you have litter in the litter box, which is a good idea. I would put down a second litter box, not too far away from litter box number 1, being that we're using numbers here. And in that litter box, what I would do is have dirt and grass from outside. He might be the type of cat that was used to going on grass and dirt, obviously before you took him in, and would rub himself on the grass to clean himself. So that's something you may want to consider trying. Other cats that I've worked with in similar situations, it's just the thrilling job of taking some gauze pads, going in there when the cat is gone, praising him, cleaning him up, and hoping he gets the idea. Will they all get the idea? No. But the majority of cats will come around. Another idea would have been to bring in a second cat at this point to teach the first cat what to do. But if we're not going to go there, I don't want the cat living in the garage. He should be sleeping in bed with you, but I understand why he's not, believe me. So, the second litter box with some dirt and soil from outside, that might help an awful lot. Also, what I would recommend that you do is put some other items outside the litter box, some other place that he can rub against. That might help clean him as well. Good luck. Give it a shot for a month or so. If it doesn't work, shoot me another email. We'll go a little bit further. But generally speaking, cats are fastidious about cleaning themselves. If they don't, it's usually indicative of separation early on, or either that or someone obviously corrected the cat for cleaning himself, which is absolutely ludicrous. So good luck to you, Jay in Ortonville, Michigan. Thanks for the letter.